Hi, this is Shanna at CoroWare. Today I wanted to talk about our expectations for robotics and what really is robotics. If you look at a number of the articles that I have posted on our Facebook pages in these recent months, you'll see that quite a few of them are not what we grew up thinking robots were. In my perception, robots were maybe Rosie from the Jetsons, or the Terminator, or Data from Star Trek: The Next Generation. They were sort of humanoid, maybe a little bit not like the one from Lost in Space, but kind of thought for themselves. So artificial intelligence seemed to be a component of what I expect a robot to be, and it looking a little bit human. But when you get down to it, robotics and automation is actually a spectrum. We start with simply automating things, and one of the articles that I posted in Facebook earlier was about a robot barista. Well, if you think about it, at home, many people who drink coffee have automated coffee makers. They have automated a process that used to require you to measure out the coffee, put it in a percolator on your stove, have the water boil up through the coffee grounds, and I know that there are even precursors to that, but then those became electric ones, and then they became drip, and things have changed. Now you have the ability to drop in little pre-measured containers, and out pops your coffee. You can preset what time it's going to turn on, and it's all made for you. So the barista robot is simply one more step in that. iRobot has been trying to convince us that a Roomba really is a robot. It had, from my perspective, it had very little intelligence, and it seemed to always want to be tangled in the cords that are on the floor. But it did manage to do an adequate job of vacuuming the area in which it went. But I don't really think of that as a robot. I think of it more as automated vacuuming, and that's what I mean by about it being a spectrum. The unmanned vehicles, the aerial ones, the drones, the cars that people are working on now, the boats or turtles or whatever they are, where they're building in some degree of autonomy, they're moving along the spectrum from simply automation to robotics. And I think most of us think the ultimate thing is going to be something that has artificial intelligence, that's something that Isaac Asimov had talked about when he was positing where robots were going to go. Science fiction sort of helps us set our expectations, and I think industry now is trying to help us reset those expectations. We have tons and tons of robots in daily use all the time, but most of us don't see them because they have replaced people on many of the assembly lines. If you look at the Ford assembly line 100 years ago when it started, completely different, although the philosophy is exactly the same. But now most of that work is done by robots. And I think we see so many opportunities for automation and therefore for robotics, and that we're going to continue to move down that road. But I think it's going to be quite a while before we see the ones that we have those expectations, whether they're the monsters, whether they're canine that Doctor Who had, and you can have a robot pet that really does interact with you. I think it's going to be quite a while before we get there. But what do you think? Do you expect to have robots helping you around the home that are really helping you rather than just automating a particular task? Let me know what you think in the comments, and thanks for listening.